my name is Mira Hoffman, and this is part 2 in our 8-part series of 50 great massage moves for the back. So make sure you favorite it so you can follow along when you have your partner ready. So picking up where we left off last time, I'm going to go ahead and take my forearm and elbow down the erectors. And this is our 7th move. And it really feels so wonderful that doing it a couple times is totally fine. So again, going nice and slow. You can notice how I'm starting to change the angle as I get down into the mid back. And into the low back. So I'm starting to turn my arm a little bit more. And if you're wondering what you can do with the arm that's not being used, sometimes I'll just place it on the outside of the table. Or you can also grab your own wrist just to help stabilize. So before, when we were coming up to the sacrum and the hip, we were kind of just pausing and coming out, and that's totally okay. We're going to do a little bit of detailed work on the sacrum here, so I'm actually going to take more of the flat part of my elbow here and really just press and rock down into the sacrum. So I'm focusing on this side of the sacrum, the one closest to me. I'm really just pressing down, and there's going to be a little bit of movement as I start to move the fascia and tendons. Just down and out a little bit. And this is going to be kind of an intense move because there's not a lot of layers between you and the bone. It's always just good to check and make sure that this feels good to your partner. Corey, how's this feeling? She said amazing. And this is really good if you have a lot of low back pain. And so really just going nice and slow, kind of working until you get to about halfway, 2/3 of the way down the sacrum, and then it just starts to get a little too bony, and so you're probably just want to come out. So again, just coming nice and slowly when you reach the end of that move. So that was move number 8. Move number 9 is going to be melting directly into the glute and hips. So I literally just picked up my arm and I'm setting it just outside of the sacrum. I'm melting into the meaty part of the glute. I'm applying a downward pressure, so kind of towards her legs, and also into the table. And you can pick your arm up and move a little bit more laterally. And you want to keep the pressure broad, so I'm not putting a lot of weight only into the point of my elbow. I'm really using like the full surface of my forearm here. I'm going ahead and coming up. So for the next move, what we're going to do is we're going to do a double-handed sandwich. So I'm going to put my bottom hand as an L shape with my thumb tracing the edge of the sacrum. And with my top hand, I'm going to press my thumb, I'm going to press my palm into my thumb. And allow the thumb to melt into the end of the sacrum. And you can move the hand up a little bit to catch a different little part of all those attachments that come into the sacrum. And then again, just so y'all have a picture, I'm kind of moving up, and my thumb's coming to the outside of that sacrum, and then I'm placing my palm down on top of the thumb to give it a little bit more weight and pressure. And you can move the thumb again, coming down lower this time. And if you want, instead of having just a downward pressure, you can press down and then add a little bit of pressure towards the sacrum. So a lot of people think massage is kind of just a lot of work and a lot of movement for the massage therapist, and sometimes that's true, especially in like sports massage, but it can also be a little bit more slow and gentle, letting the body unwind on its own. And again, just working all the way back up to the top of the sacrum, to the SI joint, the sacral iliac joint. So the iliac is part of your hip, sacral, sacrum. And for our 11th technique, we're going to do what is called 9 points. So in the low back, you have your quadratus lumborum. You also have the erectors and several other little muscles help support the spine. So for the 9 points, basically we're going to be pressing in 9 different times, targeting different muscles. So starting at the base, starting at the hip, and pushing in towards the meaty part here. With my lower hand, I'm going to stabilize from the other side, pulling the hips back towards my fingertips. Let me have you take a few deep breaths, Corey. So if you're receiving this right now, go ahead and take a few deep breaths. And what that does is it helps your body apply pressure from the inside. Deep breaths help oxygenate the blood, and they help the muscles relax. So that was point 1. We're going to change the angle a little bit, lifting up and coming more directly towards the spine. You can see that was a very small adjustment, so there really isn't a lot of room between the hips and the ribs and the low back. But how you apply the angle of the pressure can make a big difference towards how the body responds. It can help get different areas of tension to release. And then point number 3, now we're kind of angling up. And again, receivers just taking some nice slow deep breaths here. That was pass 1. So pass 2, you're coming a little bit further out to the side, working a little more laterally. And then the first one is angling a little bit down towards the hips. And feel free to experiment a little bit. Every body is different. So you really want your fingers to be on a nice meaty muscular surface. If it feels like you're working too much on bone, I encourage you to palpate with your fingers and feel where the muscles are. Maybe ask for feedback from your receivers if you need to adjust the position or the angle or the pressure. And then angling up for that last one on the second row. And notice how as your receiver takes those deep breaths and the muscles start to relax, you're able to work a little bit deeper. And then the last pass coming out even more towards the side. This is working a little bit more on QL here versus the erectors. And then taking the last movement, angling upwards. And then when you're done, what I like to do is just kind of work out the area. So kind of rocking with my thumbs, pressing into the low back. And this naturally segues into our 12th move, which is applying a little bit of cross pressure, cross fiber direction into the erectors. So with my thumbs, I'm just placing them down at the border of the erector muscles and then rocking in towards the spine. And you can see sometimes you kind of slip or strum over the erectors. Really working up the full length of the spine. Going all the way up to the shoulders. And out the neck. And we're going to pull in one of our moves from the first video again. The fist down the erectors, and that's just getting us down to where we want to be. So you could do that, or if you want to do elbow down the erector on that other side, you can do that as well. All the way down onto the hips. And then picking up with taking the elbow down the sacrum. So using this nice flat part, you can literally just place it on the sacrum and rock down. So that's step one. And then you want to gently back off the pressure. So you're sliding just a little bit over that sacrum. This really helps move the fascia and open up any tightness. Coming all the way down off the edge. And then moving a little bit laterally to the side. So you're not on the sacrum, but just up against it. We're going to again use the flat part of our forearm near our elbow and press and melt into the glutes. So this feels really wonderful for people that have low back concerns, tight hips. Maybe they're runners or bikers. And then we're going to do the sandwich hands. So making an L with your bottom hand and bringing your thumb right along the edge of the sacrum. We're going to take the top hand and press with our palms into that thumb. So getting some extra pressure here. By having both hands working on the same area. And you can just gently move the thumb up or down to really target that full length of the edge of the sacrum. Working all the way up towards that SI joint. And we'll come to start our 9 points. So bringing the fingers on the top hand to the edge of the first set of erectors. I'm going to be angling downwards for the first pass. And take your bottom hand, just stabilizing the opposite hip and low back. And encouraging your partner to take some nice, slow, deep breaths here. And then for point 2, coming directly into and towards the spine. And then point 3, angling a little bit more up to that opposite shoulder. Sometimes the points that are kind of near the ribs or closer to them, they can be a little bit more tender. I've had some clients be like, "Are you working on my kidneys?" Well, no, your kidneys are actually tucked underneath your ribs. But with the fascia and everything in our bodies being connected, it can definitely feel like it's pulling or creating a little bit of sensation or movement in that area. So if it ever feels uncomfortable, I always encourage them to let me know. Sort of the line is, if it feels like a good pain or something that you're able to breathe through, then let's hang out and let the muscle release. But if it feels like a bad pain or something that you're tensing against, so maybe you're clenching your jaw or your face or tightening your breath, shortening it, it's probably better for us to back out the pressure a little bit. Allow your body to naturally unwind instead of forcing it. And we're moving to point 6 here. Again, angling up towards the opposite shoulder. And you can really control a lot of the pressure with that bottom hand. So if I wanted to make it a really intense move, I'd really pull on this bottom hand. And if the person's already pretty sensitive here, This bottom hand is really just for stabilizing. I'm not going to be using a lot of force to pull towards me. I've also had some clients that are a little bit more ticklish in this area. So if you find that you're struggling to do this with your partner, let me know, leave us a comment, and I can show you some alternate options for you to use. And coming into that 9th point, angling upwards. And you'll feel like the little floating ribs, but you're not trying to like press into them, you're just kind of grazing or working alongside of them. And then coming out of this move, releasing the hands, I'm going to go ahead and bring the thumbs to press up against the erectors, so placing them and then pressing in towards the spine. I really try and focus the angle of my pressure a little bit downwards, almost as if I was trying to work underneath the erectors. So you can kind of feel it's almost like a little canal or small valley. You have the ribs, and then as you press in and down, it's kind of like a little divot that your thumbs want to fall into. Feels super yummy to have it worked on. Just taking your time. Slowly inching up the back. Spine. Those erectors literally go from the base of your spine and the low back all the way up to the top of your shoulders and to your neck. Just kind of saying goodbye to the back.